Okay, so I just wanted to go over kind of outlook for ES over the next day or two. Um, Wednesday is going to be a big day with FOMC interest rate projections. So I'm guessing the rest of the day and tomorrow is going to be quite choppy. But yeah, the short-term forecast here. So we can see we came up here retesting this resistance here, which had basically 1, 2, 3 hits, come through here, but then collapsed back below it and tested again here yesterday before it came down. As you can see, we hit our trend line here, as I talked about Friday. I'm coming back and retesting this trend line. It would have been beauty of a trade to take this, but of course, you can see it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Hit that beautiful and bounce for about an 80-point move up. We're retesting this resistance. Looked like it broke through. It's not hasn't closed above that resistance yet. We'll see what it does the rest of the day. It's 2:20 here, so we got a little bit more time before market closes. Um, but the next area we're going to look at will be resistance up here around this 4,000. 4,000 will be a whole number, just a little below it. But this will be the main watch, 4,000, 4,005. You can see it lines up with the bottom of this candle right here. If it breaks above that, closes above, the next area of resistance will be right in here, the 4,050 area to 60 in that range. Of course, we go above that, we got the very top here. Kind of depends what we do. It's a little bit wider range, 4,100 to 4,118. So quite a big 18-point range there. I like the 4,100 better just because it's a whole psych number. And it tends to get some price action in those whole numbers, 4,100, 4,150, 4050, 4,000. Those areas usually get some sort of price action. If not a reversal, it might be worth a scout for a pullback. As far as the downside, if we come pull back down here, I'm looking at possibly we could bounce on a fib. This is the high and low. We could bounce either the 39.44 or the 39.34. This here would probably be the best bounce. As you can see, I'm seeing the bottoms of this low here, which will be a slight resistance also, and lines up with that 61. So if it pulls back to here, this would be the area to watch for a pullback. Um, so yeah, just depends kind of what time of day it gets there. If it gets here today or tomorrow, or um, it might just shoot straight up. Who knows? But yeah, that would be the next place to watch for a pullback. Actually lines up with those little bottoms there too. So yeah, that would be a pretty strong area here if you want to go for a scalp up on a pullback. Next area would be low of pre-market last night. We'll have support on this level or touch that trend line, have these bottoms. Wicks go a little bit lower, but I just tried to find a somewhat of an average. You can see this wick here is about the middle of there. So it's going to be a rough area there, 3906, 3900 area. There again, whole site number, the 3900. Below there, we could see in here this 3870 area for a bounce. It just kind of depends when it is. It might actually touch that trend line again if it would come down. If it did that, if it hit right in here somewhere, um, that would be a great spot too. So it depends when it gets there. That'll be a place that I'll watch. If it hits this trend and it's around this area of support, be great for a bounce off that. Then we got the very low here at 38.41, and that might have some support there as well. So a lot of times what we'll see is it could pierce below this a little bit and take out stop losses, because there's probably people that went long here that are still holding their position, and they've probably got their stop losses down in here. And a lot of times the market makers will come down, take those stops out, liquidate them before push up. So we could see that. Um, let's switch over to the daily and just kind of get an idea on a larger time frame what we're looking at. Get rid of some of this here. Is there somewhere I can clear all drawings? Hey, getting used to this trading view. So this is our daily. Till we're making lower highs. Let's see. Once. This here. I'm gonna like this area right here. 38.40. That's, I believe, where we had marked that low. We got some good support here. I'm just gonna mark that. And come down to the bottom of that wick and also the bottoms of these. So this will be our range of 38.25, 38.40s. It's going to be a spot of definite support on the daily time frame. Once we get closer, we'll be able to get a little more accurate idea of what we're looking at. Let me put a fib extension on, see if we can get an idea. If we go for a new low, if we keep this lower highs going on, if we pierce below this, we could probably be looking at somewhere in this 3,700 to 37.30s area before we get another retracement back up. That if we decide to push up, let's go from top to bottom, see if we've got there yet. Okay, if we decide to push up, we could be looking at resistance up top of that candle. That'll be our 40.54. So the 40.50 area is good daily resistance. 61.8. It's up here at the very top. Let's just mark the tops here. And yeah, the big range is probably more like the 4100 is the exact top of that candle. Let me just mark that. Change the color a little bit. So that's probably what I'd be looking for, somewhere in this area, 4100 area. It could pierce a little bit above. Yeah, them are our fib levels. If we decide to push up, there is to watch 40.50 to 4100, 41.25 area. This is our daily. And that, the bottoms of these. Yeah, move that closer to 3,900. 3,900 area will be good. 38.60s, 38.40s. So those are places I'll be watching. Also the top of this one. Top of that'll be resistance. That's basically how I just map it out, just areas that I'll be watching on a larger time frame. And then once, during the day, intraday, or pre-market, before I start trading, I'll go to the hourlies and get a little bit more fine-tuned kind of idea what I want. See, this matches up with the daily and this daily. Also this here. Smaller time frames, we've got this in play, as it's in play right now, this area. We'll have, looks like we have a daily here. That'll be good. It's the bottom of that and also top here. So yeah, those will be our major areas. A lot of times what I like to do, instead of marking the hourly up, go to the daily first, mark the major areas out, switch to the hourly, mark any smaller areas that I see, um, and then yeah, trade off that. When I'm trading, I'll usually step back to the 5-minute chart and teach the sink or swim and just trade accordingly. If I see these, come up to my area, I'll take a sniper entry, um, preferably right on bullseye, right there. And if it don't, if it's slowly coming up in here and it's looking weak, if it comes into my sight picture up into here, I'll take a starter position. If it pops up, I'll take a little bit more and get a full fill with my stop above the resistance to go short. Same with, with a low. If I was targeting, where's my thing? If I was targeting this low here, so you just got to there. Say that's the center of my bullseye. If this comes in and it's looking really weak as far as selling pressure, I might start my position there and then add to it as it comes into it with my stop below, wherever resistance or support is. As far as today's trade, I only took a scalp. It didn't really ever get to an area. It kind of chopped today, which I figured it would with FOMC coming up Wednesday. The only trade I took this morning was right here at 10 o'clock. I took the top of that candle. I had an area marked. I believe it was the top of this. Top of these over here. I had marked, must have been this area. The bottoms of these candles. Tops of these I had marked. I think, and there's a fib just above it also, 61.8 fib. And it got real weak coming up, so I started a starter position here and covered on the way down. Of course, it went right back up then. But I got a good scalp off that on the ES. The other two trades I took this morning was on NQ. I got the reversal on that for a little bit bigger move. But yeah, after 10:30, I'm usually done. I don't really like playing the slow grind up. But yeah, now I just basically be waiting for us to get into this area to short or come back down and test here. Or the other option, if it draw your fibs, if this be top and bottom, you could take a trade, in here somewhere for a bounce. Yeah, that's pretty much it on ES. Go to SPY and just kind of see what our areas are here. Go to the daily. Let's draw some lines out here. Our major pivots. That. That. And since there's not a pivot here, we'll just put a line across there. If it ends up going down, that'll be a little stronger. But it looks like we're still kind of working our way up with higher lows here. So we could pull back. Let's put a fib on it. So if we go from the top of that to our low, still haven't quite touched our fib. It could come up here and pierce back up top, that 397 area, before pulling back. Let's see what it did on this one. I didn't quite get there either. Yeah, this will be what we're watching. I'll do a fib retracement on this. 78 area will be right at these bottoms. That's going to be an area of support. A lot of stuff going on down there. You see all these bottoms. Might even stop a little early if it comes down that far. That'll be an area I'm watching, is at 375.50s to 375. If we go for a new low, I'll be watching the 368 area to 370, bottom of this pivot, and also a 100% extension. And that would be where I would believe that we'd get another pullback on for the next leg up, or the next rally up before we go down. So let me mark this too. If you were a swing trader, this would be a beautiful area to grab calls or go long on the S&P or ES. You get in here to go long, you get the pullback, probably up into this area. Put the fib on here. If we went down, say you got it in here, it could pull back into this 385 area at a 382, or even, if it was real strong down, maybe stop here. I'll switch over to hourly and look at it. I've been in this little range for a little while now. Need to break that 396.50. It's going to be a decent resistance. Above that, we'll be looking at this 405, 406 area. Smaller time frame, we've got something right here, 450, probably in that 400 psych number to 401 area. If it would bounce back up to take a short position. I have these low candles here. I'll get a bounce off. So yeah, anyway, that's what I'm looking at on SPY and ES.